That's how bad it can
Oh,
be.
yeah, it affects every system in your body. I mean, I can't, ugh, that'd be
Well,
terrible.
the other doctor also is for our local hospital. He's the director of the emergency room, and he looked at the chart and he goes, "Oh my God, oh my God!" It took a year to wing me off of it.
Hmm.
But you know what? It is scary out there. You know, it just the stuff that the doctors give you, the stuff that yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how I got into this. I actually
Uh-huh.
forgot. But you know, the
Yeah.
stuff. You know, I know we're supposed to be talking paranormal, but I'm just bullshitting with you. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
but you know, when we talk about genetics, I think that has a lot to do with it. But then on the other hand, you go to the doctors, right? And you got a problem. They don't really want to cure the problem. They just give you pills. And after you've been on those pills for a while, you find out, hey, it causes other problems to you. So,
Well, a doctor can't babysit you. I mean, if he can give you a pill and you go home and you feel better, he's happy. He's done his job. He gave you a result. It's sort of like a psychic. If you can give somebody a hit, and you're accurate, they're happy. They got what they wanted. So he can't really go home with you and make you exercise or make you alter your diet or quit smoking. Can't do a thing about that. It's a very helpless feeling.
I know, but
So, I could see where it happens, but I also, having been in the medical field, know how the drug companies get certain amounts of money to go and take doctors to lunch.
oh,
Now you
yeah.
go and you sit in the exam room and everything is sponsored by these guys. And when he wants to give you a sample to see if the drug works, he's basically giving it's like a drug dealer giving you a little bit of pot to see if you want to come back and get some more. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We have to change that system.
Yeah, and it's only been recently when, you know, they started telling you what all the side effects can be. I mean, on TV, you see somebody saying, oh, hey, we got this for arthritis, we got this for this, right? But then the last 15 seconds of the commercial, they're telling you it can cause bleeding, it can cause death, it can cause a
When they
stroke.
do that, I always think, oh, that's okay. I'll just keep the disease.
Yeah, you know, that I think people are
Yeah.
better off, you know, sometimes because what I was trying to say is they
Yeah.
give you medicine, right? And it makes you feel good for a while. So then you just like a fix, you go back to the doctor because it's not working again. They give you another one, but they don't tell you later on all this different type of medicine has been, well, it's been screwing up your kidneys, your liver, damaging your heart.
Mhm.
And so you go in with one problem. Now you got a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I lead a very healthy life because I basically don't want to deal with that stuff. I just don't. It's a lot easier for me to make decisions throughout the day than to pay a ton of money and have a bunch of drugs that make me feel like crap.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like a bother to some people, but I mean, if you floss your teeth at night and you put your seatbelt on when you get in the car, it's just another thing you do during the day. Is just be conscious of what you eat and that you moved your body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm going to change the subject a little bit.
Okay.
The time you didn't actually encounter physically, if I remember right, a Bigfoot, but your husband and a group of people, you were on a hike, and I guess they went a little bit farther, and you were sitting on a rock or something, and then rocks started being thrown at you.
No, that's a little bit of a bunch of different stuff there.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
66
Because
years old.
I
It's
have
hard
had
to
a few
remember where I put my
encounters, but I
keys.
only had one encounter where I actually saw the Bigfoot, and that was hiking in the Sierras. And I was living in California in the mid '80s. Now, in the mid '80s, we didn't have the internet. All I knew about Bigfoot was what I saw as a kid, which was, the Legend of Boggy Creek, and I think I saw a glimpse of the Patterson film on TV at one point, and all I knew was they thought there was a gorilla in the woods, and he's up in Washington State. So, here I am hiking from like 8,000 feet to about 11,000 feet. We're going up to a place called Baboon Lake, which is rather ironic.
Yeah, I was just going to say something
Yeah.
about that. Good name. Good lake.
It's a John Muir Wilderness. Everything's named after Darwin and evolution and stuff. So we're hiking and we take a break, and everybody's sitting down in the shade, and they're having drinks and snacks and resting. And I had my sketchbook, so I'm thinking I'll just go over here and I'll there's a clearing. I can watch the hills in the distance, and I can see all these the beauty, and maybe sketch something. So I walk over there, and I'm looking around, and I stop where there's a clearing in the trees. And the clearing was maybe, I'm guessing, about 20 feet wide, but I saw something dark. And it sort of moved to the right, and it unfolded and stood up. And I thought, oh, it's a camper. But then it started walking across this hill. Now, it was a really steep incline. It never looked down. It just walked like this was perfectly normal. But it only took about 3 or maybe 4 steps to get across that 20-foot clearing. And it was so quick that it happened. But when it unfolded, I saw it looked all dark. But once it stepped and I saw its legs and its body and its arms, I realized, because I'm an artist, and I focus mostly on human form, I thought, oh, proportions are all wrong on this guy. His arms were a little too long, the body was real long, the legs weren't as long, but the muscles and the butt and the hips, the thighs, they were tremendous. I mean, it just really pronounced. When he got about the middle of that clearing, the light hit him, and I realized he was auburn, sort of auburn-haired all over. But he was gone so quickly. And my first instinct when the light hit him and I saw that he was auburn, I actually stepped back into the shade because I was kind of thinking, I'm not supposed to see this. Like, this shouldn't be here. So I was confused. This should be in Washington, and this is not an ape. This is a person. They are so wrong. And I was really embarrassed to talk about it. It wasn't a subject in the 80s anybody talked about. It was not a paranormal decade. So it took me a long time to process. But as a researcher, I ended up doing a lot of focus on Bigfoot because I needed some things answered. And I entered a private think tank, and some of the best minds I know are in there and accessible in all kinds of specialties. And so I've kind of evolved my thoughts about what Bigfoot is.
Well, Ed Romans, have you ever heard of him? In Canada, he's like the number one folk singer in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a major recording star. I had him on my show a while back because he heard my story of my encounter of a Bigfoot, and he wanted to talk about his encounter. I'll tell you, I ran into one with a friend of mine who just got out of, doing internship. And he was opening a practice in Puyallup, Washington. He was a medical doctor. And, he was an avid photographer like I was. We decided to do the Canadian Rockies, and we were out at old World War II internment camp where they used to hold the Japanese prisoners. We didn't even bring bear spray with us. That's how stupid and naive we were. So we're out like 2 miles away from where the car was parked, and we had to go through the woods and all that stuff. It was kind of a nice hike. And, my friend goes, "Hey, Gary, look at that huge bear over there." It was maybe about 1,000 feet away from us by where one of the mine entrances were. And I looked at it, and I said to my friend, I said, "That isn't a bear. I don't know what it is." Right when I said that, it noticed us, and it made the loudest scream, and it echoed a little bit because of, there was, I guess, silver mines in that area, or right, there by the internment camp on the one side of it. So there was a nice echo to it. I got so scared. My friend got so scared. We took off running, and the thing came after us. All I can tell you, when we got back to the car, I don't know if it was it or its mate or another one, but 25 feet away from our car, maybe 30 feet away from it, it was there, making kind of grunting noises. There was a tree, maybe 25, 30 feet. It bent over he just bent it over like nothing. And, I'm getting in the car. All I can think about is I got to get out of here. And I will tell you this, I was dragging my friend. He had like one leg in the car. I'm stepping on the gas. He's trying to get, in the car. I wasn't even thinking about my friend. I honestly, all I wanted to do was get away. It threw a huge rock and hit the fender of the car, put a big dent in it.
Wow.
And the bad part is my wife just bought the car before we went on this road trip. And she was nice enough to say, "Hey, well, you better take this car because your car probably will break down on you." So, hey, I figured, okay, I'll go in the Cavalier.
So you got some splaining to do, huh?
Well, I got home, right? And we cut our trip short a week. You know, we were supposed to go up and do more picture taking. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to get back. And then, before we even got back home to Seattle, or Tacoma, I should say, he was basically saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't see each other anymore. I don't want this to get out. His father was a Superior Court judge for Pierce County. His brother was a attorney, a high-powered attorney. Had handled, like murder cases and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And they were funding his, clinic that he was opening. He was paranoid. How many people would be patients to somebody that claimed they saw a Bigfoot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that.
No, I get a lot of witnesses in my line of work, and the witnesses are like, I can't, nope, you can't share the story, even if it's anonymous, blah, blah, blah. Airplane pilots that have encountered UFOs, stuff like that. They're like, no, I don't want my name associated with that. I don't want anyone to figure out it was me.
I can tell you this. It had the most horrid smell of anything I've ever smelled in my entire life. I mean, not because, when opening the car and getting in the car with the car door open on his side, the smell just like came into the car. It was horrible. Yeah. And, I've never seen one since then. I'll be honest with you. Ever since then, we had 8 kids, 8 children. My wife would, every summer, because we used to go camping a lot, I wouldn't go camping anymore. I told my wife, no, I'm not going. You're not going to get me in the woods anymore. You're not going to get me in the forest anymore. Yeah. That's how bad it shook me up, and that's where I get people wanting to be on the show and saying that, well, I get orbs going up and down my neck, from a Bigfoot, or the really ridiculous stories. Like I had one guy who says, I am a Bigfoot hunter. I've been researching Bigfoots for 30 years. Okay. And I was going to actually bring him on the air. And then I started asking questions like, where have you been, looking for Bigfoot? You know what he told me? He reads books, and then he researches it on the internet.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Bigfoot hunter. Okay. Well, he never ended up on the show.
You have to catch them that way unless they're an online predator.
Yeah, they could. He might have been, but
yeah. But what you encountered, and it was a very aggressive, I'd say assertive encounter. I don't think he meant to hurt you.
No, if it wanted to,
want you to come back. But some of the things, the characteristics you're describing, make me think he might have been a hunter.
Well,
the hunters usually have a lot of odor, and they do that on purpose. They actually rub stuff on them to try to mask their scent. So when they go chasing after their prey, they're not going to smell them coming.
Well, you know what
it just smell like the forest.
It smells like when you get a dog and you're trying to train it, and you have one of the old cotton type rugs, which has the felt padding
yes.
underneath it, and your dog urinates on that, and no matter how many times you take a carpet shampoo and suck it up, all of a sudden, when it's a hot day, you get this horrid smell. That's what it smelled like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's what gets me, I mean, people, it could have, if it wanted to kill us, it would have killed us. I just think it just wanted us gone. And, maybe maybe that was its territory. And
it sounds like a perfect opportunity there. I mean, between that abandoned site and the mines, it has a really good spot. And it does not want any, humans to think they can come in there and take over. They've established.
And that was like early June. And even then in early June, where we're at, the sides of the road still had snow, that time of year up in the Rockies. So, I mean, it was cold yet. I mean, it wasn't hot and warm. It was, chilly yet. So, I mean, but the thing is, a lot of people, I don't think if you're out looking for a Bigfoot, you're going to find one. I just think I think it's going to be like what happened to us. It's accidental. You're going to walk somewhere, and then all of a sudden you're going to find something. I mean, that's...
Well, yeah, and here's the key. I'll give you the key. The key is you and your friend were walking, intending to do something completely un-Bigfoot related. You weren't thinking about Bigfoot. You weren't looking for Bigfoot. And there is something that runs pretty true through all of this. People who are not thinking about, expecting to find, or looking for Bigfoot, their mind is on other things. they can easily startle one and come up on them. And I think that they understand intention. They can feel it. You and I can do that.